Like being a top is so hard.
Because it's exhausting.
It's exhausting and like keeping your erection and like, yeah, and it's just exhausting and it can hurt, like my feels like a pincushion sometimes.
Hey, I'm here.
All right, hold up.
Okay.
Come out and walk you to the house.
Okay, it's so nice here. Oh my gosh. Right. Oh my gosh.
People from LA always have this reaction.
Oh my gosh.
Texas home.
What? Giant. Oh, it feels so good in here too.
Yeah, so it's a mess because we just moved a bunch of stuff in, but I have the living room area ready.
Perfect. We could do it in there. Wow. It's huge.
It's like a basketball court, right?
Thank you for having me over. Beautiful place. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Gosh, you must feel so proud of yourself. It's giant.
Yeah, and like I said, granted, this is Texas, so like
Still though.
this giant house is pretty average for here. Like you can get it with an average income.
Thank you for coming to Tony's and for, talking about your experience there. It was cool to see you there. And it's actually so surreal because when I came to Houston, I didn't know at the time that you were living here. I didn't process it, but it's just meant to be that you're here and I'm here. It's perfect.
Yeah, no, I love that it worked out the way it did, kind of, and then we can kind of go back and see where I started. And like I haven't been there in forever, so it's good for me too.
I am excited to announce that I am starting an Our Queer Life newsletter. This is your backstage pass to my creative process, upcoming projects, and the stories that shape the queer community. It is completely free and you can sign up by going to the link in my bio. Thank you so much. I am so excited about this new endeavor, and now back to the interview. So you're not stripping anymore, right?
I am just not like full time like I used to.
What made you want to make that decision?
Right after we did the interview at Johnson's in Fort Lauderdale, Teddy Bryce actually came and did a guest spot at Johnson's. Me and him have been following each other for a while. We just never met in person. He was in Fort Lauderdale mostly to, make adult content, and he was dancing more supplementally or like as a guest appearance at Johnson's. And I was asking him a lot of questions about that because I'm curious and interested and want to do it, but too scared. And he had a big collab house set up the next day, and he's like, yeah, just come by, we'll show you how it works, and if you want to try it, you can try it, and if not. And I went, and I just kind of did what I did with stripping and everything else in my life. I showed up, and I just dove headfirst into it. And now I'm an adult content creator.
Is the money better doing adult content or stripping?
At my peak with stripping, more with stripping. But I was working a lot more, and I didn't have as much flexibility. Now, we did talk about how much flexibility there is with stripping, but with adult content creation, it's even more flexible. Like I can travel more. I don't have to be at Johnson's Fort Lauderdale these months and then this, I can be like, I'm going to Chicago that weekend. I'm going to Fort Lauderdale this weekend. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. No. It's a little bit more. I can go anywhere in the world now and do it. Like being a top is so hard. I'm sorry. It's
because it's exhausting.
It's exhausting and like keeping your and yeah, and it's just exhausting and it can hurt. It can actually hurt. People don't think it can hurt. Yeah, it can hurt. My feels like a pincushion sometimes.
Too much action.
Too much, dude. It's like all just getting, especially when people when with really muscular guys, they're so tight that it hurts, dude. It hurts. And it's people don't really think about that.
Why do you think that is?
I think women use the AIDS or STDs as a kind of like a cop-out excuse of why they don't want anything to do with someone who's, bi or gay, because that stigma still exists in the straight world. And I find it a little uneducated. I do understand where it comes from with the AIDS epidemic 30 years ago now.
Exactly.
Is that how long it's been?
Yes, more. 40
44 years ago. It's still around. Like, most of these girls weren't even born
Completely.
during the AIDS epidemic. And PrEP has been around now for how long?
I've known about it for, I wouldn't want to give it years, but 5 years or so, but probably longer.
I think it's been around for about 10, but it's been really pushed for 5, right? If you look at the more recent data on things like HIV, specifically HIV, it's kind of been plummeting in the gay world. But if you go back to the straight world, and I talk to my straight friends, and straight content creators, they're still living in that like perpetual fear of HIV and STDs. But all they're doing to prevent it is like testing every 2 weeks. That doesn't make sense to me, because like testing is more of a benchmark. Like, it just tells you if you have it or you don't, but it doesn't prevent you from getting it or not getting it. When I'm working with straight creators, like straight girls, and I'm like telling them like, you should get on PrEP. You should like, don't, like, the tests are great, but like that's not going to save you. Get on PrEP. Here, there's also Doxy, and like, you know, it just will calm your nerves so much. And it's, you know, pretty much just go to any gay clinic or gay community and you can get it for free. They still are like, a lot of times just kind of like resistant to it.
That's so fascinating that still sex workers would feel, I don't know, like it's still stigmatized. It's so fascinating to me.
Yeah, and the ironic thing is I'm safer, actually, for you to have sex with than just about anybody. Gay sex workers, or especially content creators, are some of the safest people when it comes to STDs for you to work with or to have sex with. Because almost all of us are taking PrEP and Doxy on a regular basis, and we're getting tested every 2 to 4 weeks because we do for our scene, or, you know, we have to get tested 2 weeks out or something. Like, why is that always the excuse of what you're scared of when it comes to like being with us? You know, it's like, well, we're actually safer than most of y'all. So I feel like that part of that stigma just needs to go away. And the only way it's going to go away is if we educate people on it a little bit more, especially straight people, because HIV, I don't know if you've noticed, in the last 3 since COVID, with straight people has been.
Has it really?
Yeah. Wow. Another thing that I like to say to these girls when they're using STDs is their concern to working with me or being with me intimately off camera. I'm like, you realize that I'm actually the one that should be more concerned, because women carry the most dangerous and scary STD known to man, pregnancy.
Did you make that up? That was good.
Yeah, I'm more scared of getting a girl pregnant, especially with the way, you know, the legal world works and like how much leverage a woman has over you, and then you have a kid that you have to take care of for 18 years and like all this, and like they might become an alcoholic like me, and then I have to put them in rehab, and like they're gonna wreck my car and paint all my walls, and that's way worse than HIV in my opinion. You know, so I'm more scared of that than anything.
Does your past and all you've gone through make you scared to have a kid because you're scared they'd go through the same things that you've gone through?
Yes, that's a part of it. But there's also the part of I'm a little bit selfish right now. Because I got sober and I've gotten the second chance of life, I'm really trying to make the most out of it for myself. I want to experience everything that I can in life. Like, have you ever like interviewed someone who went to prison for a long time and came out?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and they probably have this almost like, I'm just so happy to be free, I'm trying to enjoy everything in life type of attitude. Like, I relate a lot to that because I'm like, I should just be dead right now. And I have this chance to like actually have a good life, like, and experience everything that I want. And I'm not going to like say no to something just because other people might judge me. And once you bring a kid into that equation, it's not about you anymore. It's about them. And I don't want to be a father that, because right now I'm working a lot, and I don't want to be a father that's never around because I'm working too much. And so I do want a kid, but only if I can be, if it's convenient is the right word, where I can easily just dedicate my life to that kid. And I just can't do that right now.
How long have you been sober for?
This year's 8 years.
Wow, 8 years. You should be so proud of yourself. It's so beautiful. I know you had mentioned earlier in this interview that you felt like you got a second chance of life after you kind of hit a rock bottom. I don't know if you want to go into that at all, or if you feel comfortable talking about that experience at all, but I mean, I would be really interested in hearing about what that was like for you.
Yeah, and I can go into it vaguely. I don't want to go into too much of the details of it, but alcoholism or addiction is progressive, right? It like slowly gets worse and worse, and then all of a sudden, a lot of times with a lot of people, then all of a sudden it gets really bad, really fast, like really fast. You know, when I graduated college, I was like 210 pounds, basketball player, and within 4 years, I was like 145, 150 pounds, and like had warrants, like was basically a fugitive and got in a lot of trouble. You know, I had this incident with like SWAT in the sheriff's department in a small town in Colorado, and I was facing a lot of time. My life was over. Like I was either going to end up doing a lot of time or I was going to die doing something stupid. And I was just like living on the street. I was homeless. And then I got some help and we got into a hospital. And I thought I had unique circumstance. Like the world dealt me a bad hand. I had all these, like I had a tough childhood. I got very unlucky with a lot of things. People didn't understand me. People didn't treat me the way I deserved. That was my attitude. And then I also thought I had mental disorders. Like I loved blaming my problems on like ADHD, PTSD, OCD, you know, chronic anxiety, depression, insomnia. Like I loved blaming my problems on those things. And that stint in the hospital after my eval, I went to an AA meeting. I realized it's like, those are not causing my life's destruction. I am. The decisions I'm making are causing my life's destruction. This is all my fault. Like the position I'm in right now is 100% my fault. Because life's always gonna hand you some shit. You know, someone will die, someone won't like you, someone will treat you unfairly, you know, a partner will cheat on you, whatever. Those things are going to happen regardless. It's how you deal with them that ultimately determines how you end up. And like, same like with having things like ADHD and all those things, like, you know, I've seen it so many times where people like fall into like this victim trap of like, oh, I have ADHD or PTSD or like, you know, I had a traumatizing experience as a kid or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but like it's your responsibility to deal with that, not the world.
That is a big pill to swallow though. I could only imagine how hard it is to be sober and to go on that journey, because if you're already grappling with drug addiction and then having to face it and be like, this is all my fault, that must be really hard to do.
It is, because it's really easy to be like, well, because it is true that like whatever, sometimes like a traumatic experience that happens, like for example, like I was molested as a kid, and like to be like, that wasn't my fault. But then going and drinking and getting a DUI or whatever because you went drinking because of that is your fault. You know, it's the part of like, how did I react to this? That is your fault. And that is hard for people to do because they get so caught up on the thing that actually happened isn't their fault. And then they use that as an excuse to blame for all the bad decisions they make later in life as a result.
How many people do you sponsor?
I've sponsored many, successfully only a handful, but that's just typically how it goes. People always make the statement that like AA doesn't work because, you know, like 90% of people don't stay sober, they relapse and stuff like that. That is accurate. I still think it's better than people who aren't doing AA, but AA only works if you actually do it. And I don't think 90% of people commit 100% to doing it thoroughly. That is true. Because when someone has done it really and thoroughly, haven't seen it not work.
It must be hard though to take someone under your wing and, you know, to want the best for them and then to see them go down that path again.
Yeah, and especially because these are really shitty people very often. You know, like I told you, I sponsored a skinhead. This guy comes up to me at one of my meetings and asks me if I could sponsor him. And he has a swastika the size of your hand on his neck. Wow. Now, I've always been taught we don't judge people in AA. Our only requirement is to help someone if they want to stop drinking or using. And I remember so I just said yes, but I didn't like it for selfish reasons. I didn't want other people to know I'm helping this guy or to judge me for seeing me with this guy. And I recognized that very quickly. And I called my sponsor, who's a very liberal guy, and he was like, no, that's not your job. You're not here to change his political beliefs. You're only here to help him get sober and off drugs. And I was just like, oh shit. And like now he's doing really well. Like he's like, went back to school, became a mechanical engineer, like graduated top in his class, got all the tattoos covered up, and he's like thriving.
Well, that kind of reminds me of your story about Shelly and how you walked into that meeting and she said, I don't care, you need to get sober.
I walk in, I didn't know it was a gay meeting.
Oh no.
I walk in and it was in LA. I was in a halfway house in LA. And I walk into this meeting, I sit down, and I'm all f***ed up because I'm sobering up. And at the end of the meeting, the secretary goes, thank you for coming to the Friday night LGBTQ, whatever all the letters are, meeting at Jocelyn Park. And I oh shit, not supposed to be here, get up and just dart for the door. And this huge butch lesbian is sitting by the door, and her name is Shelly. I'll never forget her. She gets up, grabs me by my chest. I was only 145 pounds at the time, and throws me back in the room. And she goes, where are you going, kid? And I'm like, I'm straight. I'm not supposed to be here. And she goes, we don't give a f***. You need to get sober.
Wow.
And she made me stay and get a commitment, which is like a volunteer job at the meeting. And then that group of gay men, lesbians, trans women helped me get my life back together. I was pretty much homeless at the time, no job, nothing. I had nothing. And they helped me get my life together. I learned so much from the gay community, and the gay community has been through such a harder time than a lot of the straight community, that I learned more how to be a man, a grown man, from gay men than I ever did from any straight man I've ever met.
That's I have chills. That's really powerful to hear. We got a lot of responses about that, about Shelly. And
We did. I wonder if she saw it.
well, that's what I was going to say. Shelly reached out to me.
No.
And we're going to call her right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're going to FaceTime her. I organized,
surprise?
yeah, I organized a FaceTime with Shelly. She's really excited to talk with you.
She knows we're going to call her.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Is it her?
You have fans in Los Angeles. Let me tell you, so does Matt.
Oh my
Sorry. I might have broke some traditions, but I didn't use your last name.
You know what? I would never, ever admit to being a member of any group that would admit me. So you're cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this is
So
crazy. What a great surprise.
Thank
you.
This has been a very interesting couple of months, because you two really do have fans here in Los Angeles, and I heard from a lot of them.
I love it.
Do you remember that? Like 8 years ago? And
I
that...
do.
I thought you wouldn't even remember, because I was so skinny and like...
Yeah, this is the thing. So the first person that told me, I'm like, I'm not in any video. What are you talking about? And he was like, no, it couldn't be anybody else. Trust me.
I think I know who told you.
and then he described it. And I said, oh, I remember that exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I've been thinking about Crush. Where is he?
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I'm so happy we got to do that. Man, what a great surprise. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Matt.
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course. I'm so happy that
Truly.
I made it happen. Thank you for reaching out.
I mean, he's like a storyteller. He goes around the villages and he collects people and bringing them all together. You know, what you're doing is really pretty remarkable.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, man, for being part of saving my life.
You too. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay healthy. Stay happy. And Matt, I'm looking forward to meeting you two in Los Angeles. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna do an interview together for sure.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Enjoy you.
Thank you.
Love you.
God.
How do you feel?
Amazing. Like, holy shit, that's amazing. I've like lost contact with her.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't even know if she would remember that story.
The power of social media is just wild. That moment truly brings me so much happiness. The moment when Crush and Shelly saw each other for the first time again after so many years, and where Crush could tell her, thank you for saving my life. As I was editing this episode, I just kept watching that moment over and over and over again, and just felt so grateful that I was in a position to make that happen. And I just feel so happy and so touched to see Crush feel so happy and full from that moment. Me and Crush's relationship has really developed so much since the first time we met in Florida, and he is one of those people that I feel like I met for a reason. Especially with my series, he is really the epitome of what my series is about, is someone who has gone through so much and continues to persevere and thrive and live the life that he wants to live for himself. It's part of the beautiful thing about the series is, I schedule these interviews with people that I, meet across the country, or I scout from various ways, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or word of mouth, or I'm always searching high and low for interesting people that I think would do great on my series. And I meet people like Crush, and the audience responds so well to him, as do I. I love talking to him so much, and now I think this is the third time he's been on my series, and I think I will continue to touch in with him. We have such a good friendship, and I think we have such a good back and forth, and I really love getting him on my channel, and I love that you guys love him too. I feel like my series has opened the doors for me to meet so many people, so many amazing people, and you're definitely one of those people. I feel so connected to you, and I've loved talking with you, and I know this isn't the end of our relationship, and you'll continue to be on my channel. We're working on other things behind the scenes, but I love hanging out with you, and I think you're such a great person, and the
feeling's mutual. It's been amazing, and I feel honored that you were interested in my story, and that so many other people were interested in what I do, and it makes me feel appreciated, which I think no one on earth can say that they don't like that feeling. So, I feel very appreciated, and before that, I appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
No problem. Oh, and I have a surprise for you.
Do you really?
Before we get off, yeah.
Yes!
This is one of my first stripper pairs, custom made.
Oh my gosh, that's hot.
It's clean, unfortunately.
I was gonna say, is it clean? I want to smell it. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. We have a couple episodes left of my time in Houston, and what's made me so happy is I've gotten some comments and some DMs from people that said, they live in Houston and that I've done them proud and represented Houston well, and it just means so much to me, as I go to these different cities and really try to figure out who I want my stories to be centered around. I take so much pride in really diving deep and trying to find people that truly represent that city well, so that people that live there can watch episodes and feel like I did them well. And I'm really proud of of the episodes and of the people that I chose to interview in Houston. I think it's been a really fun couple episodes, and I hope that you enjoyed them too. I know I've announced in the past couple episodes, but I just want to quickly say that I'm going to Virginia in about a week and a half, and I think I have a lot of my stories picked, but I'm still open to hear new stories. So if you live in Charleston, West Virginia, or anywhere in the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia, and you're interested in being the show and think you have a story that would fit for the show, make sure to email me. And then I'm also going to Tokyo and Thailand in December, and words cannot express how excited I am to take my show international. I feel like I have wanted, and I've heard from you that you've wanted me to take the show out of the country, and it's going to be really, really special. I can't wait. I'm already developing my connections there, and making my web of connections and figuring out where I want to go and what stories I want to do. And it's part of my favorite. It's one of my favorite things about this series is diving deep and finding people. I mean, I was just on a Facebook group for Appalachian queer people for hours yesterday, just skimming everybody, and just and I found someone that I feel like is so great, and that's how I find a lot of my stories. But it's truly so rewarding. It's like winning the lottery, when you search the Facebook page forever and you find someone and you talk to them and you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for the world to meet them. And that's how I feel right now. I'm really excited for some stories I have coming up. And also, I just want to say I am starting a newsletter, which I am so excited about. I think it's going to be a great way to connect with you beyond YouTube, because as of now, so much of my YouTube channel is just interviews. And a lot of the times when I go to these places like Salt Lake City, or now Nashville, Houston, Virginia, West Virginia, I have all these experiences that I want to share, but they don't necessarily fit into the interview format, so I don't even share them because I don't put them on my YouTube or anything. And so I think this is going to be a great way for me to connect with you on a deeper level, more of my thoughts, more of the places I'm staying, highlighting different restaurants I think are cool, behind the scenes aspects of my interviews with people, just a way for me to connect with those of you who really resonate with our queer life on a much deeper level. So that is linked below. It's completely free, and I would love for you to sign up and join that community too. I think that's all. I hope you are all doing so well. I think about you all the time, and I hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Okay, bye.